That is an impossible question, Maya. I don't know. So, I actually inherited the organ. Got it completely free because my roommate at the time, Bertie Eldridge, was a music major, and he got COVID a couple years ago and wasn't able to use any of the practice rooms in VLR. Like, he had a recital coming up, so he sent this plea to somebody at Health Alert, and he was like, please, can someone just escort me to VLR? I'll wear a mask, I'll wear gloves, whatever you need, I just have to play piano. And then 2 days later, Dan Reed and Dan Del Russo showed up with the organ and moved it into our tiny Ocean View apartment. And Brody played it before his recital and then didn't touch it ever again. So it's just sitting in there, and I love trying out new instruments and new ideas with new instruments. So I really just kind of went deep and taught myself all the parameters on it, all of its functions, and then just how to play the organ a little bit. Not very good, but it's a lot of fun. On the back of it is actually a list of all the people who have had it before. I think it was originally somebody's grandpa's, and then it somehow ended up at PBA, and it's just been going around from apartment to apartment. A musical exercise that I like to do is I just tell myself, play exactly how you're feeling right now. Just whatever notes, minor, major, some combination of the two. Just play your emotions right now. And sometimes it's really simple and just a happy little ditty. And sometimes it's I'm sitting here for an hour just pouring my heart out into the organ, which sounds like it can get such a full, complete sound. It's really beautiful. Growing up in Miami, I really, I had my driver's license, and I ended up buying a car from my neighbor later on. But everything was so close that it always felt kind of silly of me to drive. And there was a bike shop a couple blocks away that me and my dad would go to. My dad is a huge cyclist, and my grandpa was actually a huge cyclist too. So I kind of grew up riding bikes, but never got super into it until COVID, because all of Miami shut down. So I was taking my bike on the highway and taking pictures and stuff, and it was really cool to just see how much of a ghost town Miami became. But I actually ended up buying that bike from the owner of the bike shop after it had closed. So we were so sad. Shout out Bike Nerds. It had a good run. But then after it closed, me and my dad stayed friends with the two mechanics / owners, Thomas and Diego. And Diego had posted that bike on OfferUp, and I saw it looking for another bike. So I texted him right away. I was like, Diego, please. And he was like, honestly, Jonas, it means so much that it's going to someone that will ride it, is into bikes and the Miami bike scene, and it's just become my daily commuter. I ride it to work, I ride it to the beach, but I also just ride it for fun. We'll do laps around the island, or climb parking garages on it, and it's just such an outlet for me. It's so freeing to be able to go wherever you want to go at whatever speed you want to go, and just I don't know, there's something really liberating about riding a bike. It's just such a good mental reset for me. I really get into this meditative space, and just, I don't know, can't get enough of it. So shout out bikers, shout out Diego, appreciate you guys. I love this bike. This is my dinosaur. I found it when me and my good friend Luca were exploring an abandoned building that we found in the middle of the woods. And it really felt like we were gonna die in a horror film, but we didn't. And I think it was a summer camp lodge, because we found all this weird kids activity stuff, and there was just this dinosaur sitting in the middle of the room, and it looked very haunted. It still looks haunted, if you look at its face, but I don't know, I love it. It's just great. It sits on top of the organ. That's its home. It doesn't have a name. Maybe it should. Maybe it shouldn't. This is a little magazine called New York Ray Flyers Volume 2, 1990 to 1995. It has some fantastic illustrations. I got it from a tiny magazine store, which it's amazing a place like that still exists, down in Miami called Zine. Super cool people, super fun little store. And I don't know, there's something special about having like a little coffee table conversation starter that's purely visual. Like you can just flip through this entire thing in a minute and see all the illustrations, or sometimes I'll just sit down and like go over them and read some of these flyers. Because it's such a culture that I'm so far removed from. Like I've never been to a rave in New York or in the 90s, so it's kind of neat to just like get a little glimpse, like a little taste of that, and have it sitting on my coffee table. Yay!